Dandavas Pranam Maharaj. Hari Bol.
Krishna, Dandavats, Ananda Prabhu,
Dandavas.
Ananditya, and Bhagavati Didi, and Priyadarshini Didi, and Priyatama Didi, and Lakshmi Prabhu. Where
Dandavas Maharaj. Dandavas Kechava Prabhu.
Dandavas Pranam.
How are you?
you're not Australian.
Dandavas.
Oh, there he is.
Hola, no. The last week we see to Prabhu Kechava Prabhu and Teresa Didi and other devotees in serving Prashad and university, no?
Yes.
For directly for Facebook. Very nice.
Yes. He does a very nice, humble service there in Princeton. We wish you could come and help him. Haribol.
Haribol.
Hare Krishna.
So nice to
How are
see
you?
you. Hare Krishna.
Hi.
I'm doing well. So
You're doing well?
I want to be here. Yes. I'm just at my parents and I have to drive home, but I so often am unable to join. So if you would allow me to be present, but I'll turn off my camera because I have a stick shift car I have to drive to get myself from taking care of my parents, and then I'm going home. So, but just so I can be here, I will be present as much as I can as I'm driving, if that's
Very
okay.
Nice. Very nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
We were talking with Shanta Maharaj. What's that? Are you saying something? Harinanda? We can't hear you.
No, Maharaj. Yesterday I speaking little for telephone and Zoom meeting in Panihani Festival. Zoom in the directly in Zoom yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah, I see I participate in this class yesterday.
Yeah, we spoke to Shanta Maharaj this morning about that train accident. There was a big accident with the trains in Orissa. And 200, more than 200 people were killed. 2 or 3 trains were in a collision. So we talked with him this morning to see if any of our devotees were on, that he knows, were in that accident. So far, everyone that we know is okay, but a very bad incident. Let's see what happens now. Especially, we were concerned with Uma Devi because she's there in India, but it turns out she is in another area in Karnataka, not near Orissa, so she wasn't involved in that. Anyhow.
Okay, Maharaj. I don't know that.
Yeah.
This not. I don't know. Collision train.
Yes. 2 or 3 trains, I think, were involved.
Very bad. I see. See? Yes, Maharaj.
he was telling us about the cows. They have the cows are producing so much milk that they don't know what to do with it all now. I told them you should make rasgullas. Extra milk.
Give to Spain.
So
We happy.
Harinanda.
Oh, the cow is sure very happy, no?
They're
Produce.
very happy, yes.
Yeah.
They have a nice life now, and they have all that grass. Maharaja is growing that, had 2 fields of grass, especially for them.
Yeah.
So they're eating nicely, and they have a nice place to stay now.
Yeah, I see the camp, the
Campus.
for campus, for the aliment food for cow. Food no, food for
Food.
cow. Sí. Maharaj, I don't remember the name, the doctora, no, doctora is good, no, some meeting more. She is good or no, or ill.
Talking about Giant T. Sahu,
Who?
Dr. Sahu.
Oh, Dr. Sahu.
Yes.
Yes. I don't know. I don't know what happened to her. She doesn't contact us now.
Okay.
She learned what she wanted from our sanghas, and now she's going on to something else, I think. I'll have to see what Krishna wants.
Yeah.
Free will is there, huh? Free will. You know? Everyone
Yes.
has their freedom. But
Yeah.
Krishna does not force us to come to him. Out of love, he is offering his love generously to everyone. Some turn and reciprocate that, and others, they go in their own way, not interested, or they do it in some other way.
Yeah, very people like is in your life mystic power, samadhi, meditation, other way. Yeah, I understand. Here is saying people thinking liberation, samadhi, or money.
Very money.
Only thing that very people not in samadhi, not in meditation, not money.
Money. Ye yata mam prapadyante, you know? In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Ye yata mam prapadyante. As prapadyante means surrender. As people surrender, as you surrender to me, Krishna is saying, I reward you accordingly. If you want to surrender to me, you will get me. If you want something else, I can give you that also. Yayatamam prapadyate. Tams tataiva bhajamyaham. I will reciprocate according to the way you are worshiping me.
Bhagavad Gita.
Not forcing anyone. He does not force himself. Although he is God and he can do anything, still he does not force anyone to love him. Cannot force. Love has to be done out of freedom, free will.
Yes.
People, they are questioning why there is suffering in the world. They don't realize that suffering must occur in this world because they are turning away from their real business. Our real business is the soul has only one business, has only one duty, one activity, and that is to love. To love. And that is to love God, actually. In the highest sense of love, it is to love Krishna. Because
Hare Krishna.
love Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Haribol, yes.
Haribol.
And turning away from that, they turn towards so many other activities which are detrimental, which are not beneficial to each other. All other, they have their own individual, they turn into their own individual desires. They turn toward that. And when we have everyone fighting one another, because everyone has different desires, then we have the suffering and of this world. So it comes from that one point. Anyhow, Prabhu, you want to find that? Vandana, we'll begin with Vandanam prayers.
Yes, Maharaja.
Vandanam prayers to our acharyas and the previous incarnations who have given, so mercifully given, this knowledge of Krishna consciousness to us and encourage us to maintain and direct our attention toward these things and withdraw from engagement in other things that only bring unhappiness to us. So it is very merciful. They teach these things and present these things because a living entity has the unfortunate tendency to forget everything. He's a finite being, so we forget. We cannot even remember what we had for breakfast the previous day sometimes. So the living entity, finite living entity, is very forgetful. So the scriptures and the saints, they come constantly to remind us. So Vandana. Vandeham Shri Guru Utthapad Shri Guru Sri Rupam Sagrata Saganara Sadvaitam Avadutam Parisana Sahitam
Chaitanya.
Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Sakal Om Adhinath Nidamyasya Yananjana Salakaya Chaksharum Tasmai
Shri Gurave Namaha.
Puja Shri Bhagavad Mahabhava Sada Purva Salita Praja Bhakti Nirmala
Nivitram Sangrastam
One day
Shri Gurudeva
Purva
Purva Vishta Supuraka
Guru
Guru Gaya Shishashangu Shitam
Cynthia
Cynthia Samasavela
Govinda One day Vishnu Devam Chandrananda Puram Dantani Dem Shivati Saraswatanam Param One day Tam Ashish Shri Siddhanta
Saraswati
Bhatto Banari Sankirtanai Ayavara Chimingalo Rajakam Krishna Prema Namo Kishoraya Immortality Korangi Padma Brindaya Radhabhava Nisheshe Ande
Bhakti Vinodan Sri Gaura Shakti Swarupakam Bhakti Sastranya Samprayam Rasa Ashudhanidhim Gaura Bhajati Sasheshai Vaisnavai Vandhyati
Jagannath Prabhu
Bande Premadim Vaishnavam
Vanshaka
Kripa Sindhuya
Pati
Patitanam Pavanivyo Vaisnavyo Namo Namaha Panchatam Kamakalishanam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktayam Namami Bhakta Saktikam
Namo Maha
Namo
Krishna Prema
Krishna Prema
Krishna Krishna
Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Nami Gauri Krishna Namaha Yayata Surata Pango
Namam Tergati Matsarva Swaparambojo Radhamayana Mohana Divyad Vinapajumana
Simhasastau Digangapasya Govindam Prestagi Simanamasmarami
Shriman
Sriman Satsanghi Bhaksivadastina Karsam Venu Svanir Gopi Govinda Srila
Krishna
Krishnavati Pradevi Satyavantya Namo Namaha Tanatva Mantra Guru Bhagavata
Yasanjagat
Yasanjala Guru Nava Tatvanya Mudiyajya
Jai Saparika
Yasa Parikari Sisi Guru Gaura
Sutra Bhagavad
Sudhara Yasu Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda
Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna
Krishna Hare Hare,
Hare Rama Hare
Rama
Rama Hare Hare.
Jai Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Guru Dev, Srila Acharya Dev, Srila Santa Maharaja Ki Jai.
Jai
Jai,
Giri Govardhana Ki Jai.
Jai.
Veena Bhaktivinoda ki jai.
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 Several devotees.
Jai.
All glories to the worldwide devotees.
Jai.
Glory.
Jai.
Jai.
Puri Bol. Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj ki jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna, Trace.
Hare Krishna.
Nice to see
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Good to see you all. Yes.
Coach is coming.
Thank you.
Maybe in Mia Sindhu Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. And we don't know who you are. L.
Lawrence O. Gorman. Gorman is his last name,
Oh, okay.
but
Many greetings. It's my first opportunity to attend this opportunity on the WhatsApp YouTube page. My brother is Amir Sindhu, and he was the one that gave me the link here. So that's how come
it's his son.
my work.
Oh, very nice.
Jai.
So it's a pleasure being here, and thank you very much for allowing me to attend this glorious meeting. Thank you very much.
Very nice. Welcome.
Jai.
Welcome. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
So today we'll read from Prapanna-jivanamrtam. Jayo Vishnupad, Paramahamsa, Bhakti-Acharya, Ashtatara Sata Shri Sripad, Srila Bhakti Yoga Dev-Goswami Maharaj ki jai.
Jai.
Srila Sridhara composed this book, Prapanna-jivanamrtam,
Jai.
positive and progressive immortality. Here we describe, does anyone give knowledge in this world about how to become immortal? Here we have a book dedicated to that topic only. How to become immortal. We don't become immortal, actually. We are immortal. Already we are immortal, but because of ignorance, we find ourselves in a mortal body. Out of improper knowledge, out of forgetfulness of our real eternal nature, we find ourselves in this mortal world, temporal world. Actually, the soul is immortal. Jiva Swarupoy Krishna Nityadas. Nitya means eternal. When Sanatana Goswami asked Mahaprabhu, who am I? Ke ami in Bengali, he said, Ke ami, who am I? Mahaprabhu immediately told him, Jiva Swarupoy Krishna Nityadas. Your eternal Swarup, your eternal form, or your constitutional form is to be an eternal servant of Krishna, not a temporary servant, an eternal servant. So this body is a temporal manifestation of the soul, unsurrendered soul. As long as we remain in the world of temporality, temporality means time and space, spatio-temporality. As long as we remain in the world of space and time, we are outside of our eternal home. We're living outside of our eternal home. It doesn't matter outside, inside. If we go back to home, we will find our eternal position there. But a devotee will pray, I don't want to come back to home. Even I am happy if even in this temporary world I can serve, I can render some service unto you, my Lord. That's my eternal position. Either I am in this temporary world or in that eternal world, wherever. My business is the same, to render service, render service, loving service to the Lord. So this is the theme of this book, eternal service. How we reclaim, how we remember that position again. And by meditating on the verses here and the instructions that are given and trying to follow as best we can make some progress in that direction. Prapanna-jivanamrtam. So text number 40. Where last time we were on number text 40 of this book, the first chapter. Shravana kirtanadinam bhaktirangam hi yajnane akshamasyapi sarvapti prapati yaiva hardvati haravati. Everything is accomplished by surrendering unto the lotus feet of Lord Hari. Even for one who is unable to execute the integral practice of devotional service based on hearing and chanting. So there are certain practices in devotion. There are certain practices of a bhakta, such as hearing and chanting, shravanam, kirtanam, smaranam, Vishnu smaranam, vanjanam, etc., dasyam. All these different processes are there for the sadhana bhakta to practice. If you can't do that, still your responsibility is to surrender to Krishna. And then all the benefits of those processes will be attained. Because all those processes are meant only for attaining surrender. For remembering that we are the subordinate servants of the Supreme Lord. And subordinate doesn't mean slavery, but it means loving service. We become enslaved by love. What do they call labor of love? Our service is a labor of love. What you are doing out of love, that does not seem like labor anymore. That becomes something joyful. Your heart rejoices to do something out of love. To be able to do some service to your beloved out of love. That is the highest joy, actually. Every living entity is looking for that. But we cannot find that without understanding our relationship with Krishna. So next verse 41. Sakyarasa rasa Sakyarasa rita praya seti kechit avadantitu madhuryado papandanam pavishto vasti chetina. Some claim that surrender is generally in the relationship of friendship or sakyaras, but it is complete fallacy to think that surrendered souls have no entrance into divine relationships headed by consecrated or Madhurya Ras. A very high topic. Generally, the living entity, if he can remember anything in the field of surrender, he will think, okay, God is my father. He is supplying everything for me. He's my friend. I have a friendship with him, and God is a friend to me. And we just have a very nice relationship like that. But it is explained here that bhakti penetrates even further when love develops to a more intense form. There is a very sweet relationship between the Lord and his devotee that comes to the plane of Madhurya Ras. There's a very intense form of love develops between the Lord and the devotee, just like the relationship between a boy and girl. A loving relationship between boy and girl, that kind of relationship, or a man and woman, that kind of relationship can develop between Krishna and his devotee. That kind of loving relationship, reciprocation of love at that high level. So because we are unaccustomed to thinking in this world, we're conditioned not to think of Krishna at all. to think of surrendering to Krishna, okay, we might put up with that in a passive way. Huh? All right, I accept. I'm the servant of God. Let me do what I can in his service. In a kind of passive way, we relate to that surrender. But when that relationship develops in intensity, then we enter the plane of Madhurya, what they call Madhurya Ras. Haribo, Bhakta Ras Prabhu.
Dandava Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
You okay? You okay?
Yeah, I was just working on the pond at the farm, so
Okay.
I'm a bit excited.
All right.
Yeah.
So these different relationships devotees have with Krishna, they are divided into 5 categories. Of Shanta Ras means neutrality, Dasya Ras, servanthood, the relationship between the servant and master, and Sakya Ras. Sakya Ras means friendship. And there are 2 types of friendly relationships with Krishna. One is in which the friends, Krishna is considered the superior, and the devotee is considered the inferior friend. And then the other type of relationship, which is even considered higher, in which the devotee considers himself superior, and Krishna is the lower, inferior friend. Krishna likes that also. He feels more comfortable, very intimate relationship with his devotees. Sometimes he likes his own devotees to conquer him. That don't treat me like God. Krishna doesn't want to be treated like God. He wants to be treated as your bosom buddy, a friend who you can defeat, and you can share your victory or defeat with. And Sakya Ras. And then a higher relationship that is parental, called Vatsalya Ras. The love between the mother and their child, or father and their child, and the child with the parents, that is called Vatsalya Ras. That's considered higher than friendship. And then higher than parental is called Madhurya Ras. And that's when the man and woman want to become married, let's say. They leave the family, they leave the parents, and they go into their romantic love, married love, and so forth. There's a different type of rasa than any of the others. That's considered the highest. There's an intimate, loving relationship between the devotee and the Lord. And that also has different levels of intensity associated with it. All these things are given in the Veda, and the Vedic literature, especially the Vaishnava literature, discusses these things exclusively, describing how the different levels of rasa, they're called different levels of relationship and taste, develop one after another, or can be spontaneous also. The Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu book written by Rupa Goswami explains in detail many of these things. That's an advanced course in bhakti. Here we are just describing the more
Elementary.
not elementary. These are more details about surrender. It's also a very advanced subject, but it doesn't. We're not dealing so much with rasa as trying to understand what is our proper constitutional relationship with the Supreme Lord. Then text number 42. Sakrit pravati patrena papati siddhati siddhati tiyat lobho lobhatpadana hey tostad alochana prayojanam. Since surrender is achieved by turning to the refuge of the Lord just once, we should earnestly discuss the subject to enable the longing for surrender to be born in us. Now, this is a very important verse. I always remember this. Why I like to talk about, always talking about sharanagati, always talking about surrender. Why? Because if only once in our lifetime, we can think about surrendering to Krishna, we will achieve Krishna consciousness eventually, or it can be immediately also. There's no hard and fast rule. But the point is that once we surrender to Krishna, once we make that earnest thought comes in our heart or in our mind anywhere, once that comes to us, then Krishna will never forget us. Of course, he never forgets us anyhow, but we will never forget. That will blossom. That is the beach, the seed that will cause the Bhakti the creeper to bloom, and at the lotus feet of the Lord in Vrindavan. Just once to desire or to honor this idea of surrender to the Supreme Lord. Krishna will, from there, take over everything else. Once Sridhara explained that if you allow Krishna to land in your heart, Krishna and his army to land in your heart, just like when you're invading another country, if the soldiers can land in that country somewhere, they can take over the whole country if they're strong enough. So Krishna is like that. If you allow him to land in your heart just one place, then gradually he will take over your whole heart. He will be victorious. He will claim victory over all other desires. That may happen at once, depending on our sincerity and the intensity of our desire also to want to become Krishna conscious, to want to give ourselves over to him in whatever degree possible for us. And Krishna will reciprocate. So that's why it says here, that's why it's necessary. If we talk to anyone, whatever we say to them, it should include this principle of surrender. This is the main thing that people have to understand. That they are the surrendered souls. They have to mold their life in such a way that they are surrendered souls, souls surrendered to Krishna, and not independent entities going this way and that way according to their own whims. Whatever contingent thoughts or desires arise in us, you have to follow. You can follow them, but don't be carried away by them. Sometimes we cannot avoid what our thoughts are telling us we have to follow, what our desires are demanding of us, we have to fulfill. All right, that's the material conditioning. You may follow that, but then don't get entangled in that. Let them play their way out. But then recollect yourself, recognize your real duty, your real position in life, and try to surrender and serve Krishna. Sometimes it's not a straight line to Krishna. We have to go in a zigzag way. Zigzag way. But the point is to eventually make progress in the proper direction. So by teaching this surrender to Krishna. Sometimes in writing letters, some Vaishnavas, some devotees will put at the end of the letters, Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Whenever they write a letter or an email or whatever, they put Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama at the end. It's not like when you say, I wish you the best, or kind regards, or sincerely. Instead of that, they put Sri Krishna Sharanamrtam. Means let there be surrender to Krishna. And all communication, this point is mentioned. Surrender. Because if once, only once, the living entities can feel that in their heart, then they will be set for the rest of their life, for the rest of their lifetimes, on the course of proper direction, proper conception. So very important to remember this. Should earnestly discuss the subject to enable the longing for surrender to be born in us. Very nice. Ayananda Prabhu,
Yes, Maharaj.
did you understand that? When I said,
Yes.
yes, does you have that in Spanish? The book is it's written in Spanish, and the Spanish, you have the Spanish translation of the book?
Yes, Maharaj. I had.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that verse is very important. Very important. All right. Text 43. Apitad anukulyadi sankalpad yanga lakshanat. Tad anushilani yatvam uchatehi mahajanaya. Furthermore, since the constituent parts of surrender based on acceptance of the favorable and rejection of the unfavorable have been referred to by authorities and cited in the scriptures, the great devotees of the Lord teach us the necessity of studying and culturing the art of surrender. So this is telling us about the different parts of surrender. The first two parts are accepting everything favorable for service and rejecting that which is not favorable to service. Accepting those things which are favorable to our service and rejecting those things which are not favorable to us. This is a practical matter. If we are engaging in activities that make us forget Krishna, then that's not favorable. Whereas if we were engaging in activities that help us remember, then that a devotee will accept. So we try as much as possible to do those things which do not lead us into forgetfulness. What is our real constitutional position? Just enjoyment in this world is all right, to some degree, if that does not distract you from your primary goal, which is to serve Krishna. We may not be able to become pure devotee immediately. Very difficult, very rare. But gradually we will have to try to mold our life in a way in which we can have favorable circumstances for engaging in devotional service, and eliminate those things that are causing us to move away, forget, or be incapacitated or unable to engage in devotional activities. I like that. There are 6 limbs of devotion. We have mentioned this many times in the past. And the book describes all of these limbs of accepting and rejecting unfavorable things, accepting favorable, rejecting what is unfavorable, accepting the Lord as one's guardian and the protection of the Lord in all circumstances, all these different processes, all these different attitudes, they're explained as the limbs of surrender. Do you remember Harinanda Prabhu? The 6 limbs of surrender, 6 parts of surrender.
More or less, Maharaj. Aceptar lo favorable, rechazar lo no favorable, aceptar the protection of Lord in all circumstances, accept to Lord, accept to the Lord how guardian and guide, guide.
Yes, very nice. Okay. How many are that?
4.
I can't remember myself right now.
I can open the table of contents and they're all listed there.
That's okay. So the text number 44 then. Avarti Pijamanopa Bhakti Matra Vilasyapi Vaimukya Bhajamanonya Gatistat Sharanagati. Means one who is severely afflicted by fear of living in the material world, or one who, despite having an aspiration for the Lord's service, and nonetheless bound with adversity, such person is finding no alternative, surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So if someone doesn't have, let's say, the capacity, the rational capacity to understand God and what his position is, and what his position is in relationship to God, then there are certain situations in life where the living entity is forced to think of surrender, such as explained here. One who wants to surrender, one who has some idea that there is God and would like to surrender, but just doesn't have the proper direction or association or whatever to do that, go in that direction, to make progress in that direction, then they may be forced by the circumstances to give up all external endeavors, all extraneous endeavors, and want to surrender themselves entirely to Krishna. You know that saying, I remember I had an aunt who used to tell, said, let go, let God. You know, very nice. Sometimes we become so distressed in life. We tried to solve so many problems, but then finally we realize, I can't do this. I can't handle all of this. And so the best thing that we can think of, let go. And let God do what he wants in his will, in my life. What's that?
If you look online at the 7 or 12 steps of addiction recovery,
Yes.
the main website for the whole thing, maybe around step 3 and onwards, they're all about surrendering all of your life affairs to God and just embracing God's guardianship and guidance, because you recognize that you can't do it alone. Life has proven too difficult.
Yeah. Sometimes we have to learn like that. Now, more philosophical persons will think about, all right, what is my purpose of life? What does it all mean? And then they may realize, okay, I have to go like this or like that. That yes, there is God. Yes, if there is a God, then the only one thing that I am, and that is a servant, because I am certainly not God. I'm not in control of everything. Anyhow, so this is another situation that is conducive to and leads to surrender. The difficulties we face in life will put us in that mentality, in that mood, and help us. But that longing to surrender to Krishna must also be there. The longing to make a connection with God is also required. And not that everybody who becomes frustrated turns to God. Some people turn to suicide. Other people turn to some psychopathic activities. So it's not a guarantee that because you're in difficulty, you're going to turn to God. So there must be something within our hearts also that wants to make a connection at that higher level. And then those circumstances will help us. It is said that there are different levels, planetary levels of consciousness, of existence. And that in those higher planets, heavenly planets, where everything is so nice, there's no incentive to want to surrender because your life is so nice, material life is so nice, that there's no interest in anything better, anything higher. And then there's the other worlds where everything is so terrible, the hellish planets, where life is so terrible, so miserable, that there is no opportunity to come to think about God or anything else except how to deal with your misery. So both of these places, the heavenly and the hellish worlds, are not favorable, very favorable to surrender. But the Earth planet is considered the middle planet between heaven and hell. In the middle planet, there is some suffering and there's some happiness. So in this situation, earthly situation, is considered the best situation for cultivating Krishna consciousness. In fact, it is told that the demigods, those are in the heavenly planets, they want to come to Earth, take birth in Earth, because it's a more favorable situation for becoming Krishna conscious, especially in this Kali Yuga, when all you have to do is chant Hare Krishna, chant the holy name. Mahaprabhu was told that in this Kali Yuga, time of difficulty, great difficulty, if one can simply chant the holy name, he can make progress back to home, back to God. Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Hare Nam Eva Kevalam. He says it 3 times. Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Hare Nam Eva Kevalam. Chant the holy name, chant the holy name, chant the holy name. Eva Kevalam. That's the only way. Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Hare Nam Eva Kevalam. Kalo Nasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva. Kalo means Kali. Nasteva. There's no other way, no other way, no other way. Three times means not by karma, not by jnana, not by yoga. You cannot get back to Godhead by those processes in Kali Yuga because the mind is too disturbed. Yet if you can just chant the holy name, chant the holy name, chant the holy name, that will be the secure method of raising your consciousness to the plane where you will feel your highest satisfaction in your life. Okay? So the demigods who are living in heavenly conditions know their situation is so attractive, the material situation is so attractive that they don't think of surrender. So they pray to take birth in the earthly planets, the middle planets, where they'll have some opportunity. Not too difficult and not too good, but so they'll have some difficult, some time, some portion of their life they'll be able to spend meditating on the holy names and raising themselves beyond the world of samsara, of birth and death, birth and death, birth, death, old age, and disease. They can get free from that. Of course, that is not pure devotion. Pure devotion doesn't even concern itself with moksha or liberation. Pure devotion only wants service of the Lord, devotional service to the Lord, even in the most hellish conditions. If a devotee can think of the Lord as his servant, then he will be satisfied with that. No self-interest whatsoever. That even in a difficult situation, devotee only wants one thing. He doesn't pray to the Lord, get me out of this difficult situation. Only prays the Lord, please let me remember you. Let me remember your service. And then whatever you want to do with me, that's up to you. I remember as a young boy, I once heard this prayer from one of the saints, and I thought it was the most perfect prayer I ever heard. And it was a very simple prayer. It simply said, grant that I may love you always, and then do with me what you want. He said like that. That was his whole prayer. Grant that I may love you always, and then do with me what you want. There's a prayer of surrender. Pure Shuddha Bhakti. Pure devotion. Okay, so I think we'll stop here. Anybody have any comment or question?
Maharaj, surrender is a process. For example, I think in this moment, oh, Harinanda, like surrender in this moment, but it's not easy. Surrender is studying and cultivate a process gradually, step of step, or surrender come in any moment directly. What is?
It may happen like that also. It may happen like that. Generally, I think we have to surrender at every moment. Every moment of our life, we have to think of surrender. At every moment of our life, we are being torn away from surrender. In this world. It may come when we become very advanced. That is permanent situation. It's called nishtha. Nishtha, you know, in Sanskrit.
Nishtha.
When all anarthas are eliminated, when all undesirable things are eliminated from our heart, we come to the plane of nishtha. Nishtha, fixed. Rupa Goswami told, Ado Shradatata Sadhu-Sanga Bhajana Kriya, Sonartha Nivritti Syat. Nivritti means nishtha. Nishtha means fixed. So when anarthas have been torn from our heart, when all undesirable things have been removed from within the heart, then nishtha is possible. And then one who becomes fixed or nishtha he can begin to experience rasa. Rasa means taste. He can begin to experience the taste of the Supreme Lord, the service. At that point, that taste will prevent him from wanting to taste anything else. That taste is so high that all other desire to taste something else other than that will seem like we be like wanting to eat dirt or stool. So by getting the higher taste, all the lower taste is eliminated. Understand? So it's possible in that state, it's possible in that state to be fixed. Yes, one won't deviate. But in the stage of progressing from the material conception to the spiritual, we will face many anarthas, many difficulties that we have to remove before we can come to the plane of fixed Krishna consciousness and really relishing the taste of Krishna consciousness. Then we won't be looking for anything else. It's possible, according to Rupa Goswami. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's important to get that taste, rasa. Haribo.
Jai Maharaj. Thank you. Haribol.
All right.
There's a question. There's a question in the chat.
Who's asking?
Bina.
Bina. Yes, Bina.
She said she can't talk, but she has a question.
The question is surrender the absolute acceptance of what is with the remembrance of Krishna in the totality of our being? Is surrender the absolute acceptance of what is with the remembrance of Krishna in the totality of our being? So does surrender mean we are completely remembering Krishna in every aspect of ourself and we're not forgetful of Krishna in any way? Is that what surrender means, or is there something additional?
Well, I would modify that. That's true, but I would modify that by saying, not only Krishna, but Krishna's devotees, his associates. There is no such thing as Krishna alone. Krishna doesn't exist on his own like that. That is a mental idea of Krishna. Krishna in his reality is Krishna and his devotees, his servitors. They are all part of Krishna. It's called Anga. We say Gauranga. Anga means parts. Gauranga, Gaura, golden parts. Mahaprabhu was called Gauranga. He's golden shape, his golden color, but he's called Gauranga. He's called because his angas, his parts, are also gold. So Krishna by himself is not really the Krishna that we're talking about. That's a mental conception of Krishna. Krishna is real. Reality. He is the reality. Yes, is the whole of reality. But that reality doesn't just mean a particular form of Krishna, and his associates and activities are neglected. So it's a living reality. That is Krishna consciousness. That Krishna is holy, the living reality, and we are surrendered to that by taste, by developing that taste of love for that reality, that beauty. When one comes to that platform of absolute beauty and love, he will see Krishna and his devotees engage in their pastimes of loving service. That's Krishna consciousness. Okay? Very nice.
She responded.
Hare Krishna, the living reality that includes devotees.
Yes. Service to the Lord and his devotees. And that's Vrindavan, the land of love. the reality in which the land, the whole land, and the people, everything, cows, the trees, there's a loving relationship between all. Good evil.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol Maharaj. Love you.
Hello.
Love you.
Hare
Up to you all.
Bol.
Be well, be happy, be healthy.